I want to do it because it's fun. It's fun to do bad things.
So did you know that you could perhaps kill somebody?
It's the greatest podcast in the world.
Yes, but I wanted to do hood rat stuff with my friends.
You don't think you should be punished for all of this?
Just a little bit no video games for a whole weekend. I took my drum cup because I got mad at my mom, and then I saw her on the front of it, I yanked the thing.
Boom.
Oh shit, motherfuckers.
I got all kinds of time now to get the show notes page set up if we let the whole song play.
Oh damn. And I didn't let the fucking whole song play.
No, it's okay. It's good. It's good.
Say I Won't Podcast Season 3 Episode 10. My name is Edgar Antillon. On the other side is the fucking
Greatest.
Scott Storch of the gun industry.
The what?
The Scott Storch of the gun industry.
I don't know who Scott Storch is.
Exactly.
Fell right into that one.
Exactly, motherfucker. But if you Google him, Scott Storch, you'll see that he has contributed a lot in his field. Like, like surprisingly a fuck ton.
Nice. All right, let's look him up. This
Dustin motherfucking Gerhardt.
the sniper.
The motherfucking snipe. Oh shit. Casey Mon said, what up, Joel? Tad motherfucking Moore. Michael Aguilera. What up, motherfuckers?
Okay, what'd you say his name was? Scott what?
Storch.
Storch. Well, that's why it's hard to know. Guy's name is hard to pronounce. Born and raised South Florida and Philadelphia. Career, Scott Storch, musical career, roots keyboard player. Am I looking at the right Scott Storch?
Oh, yeah, dude.
Cocaine addiction.
Nice.
Took a month off.
1 month.
Let's see.
Some of the most famous beats you've ever known.
Wait, did you say gun industry or hip hop?
Hip hop.
Oh,
No.
man. I thought.
No, hip hop. No, I did say hip hop for you. I mean, gun industry for you, hip hop for him.
Oh, okay. All right, cool.
So.
All right, gotcha. Scott Storch, the man. I don't really know anybody on the Roots, so.
No, he's not with the Roots anymore.
Yeah, but I mean, he was, right?
That's his beat.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
The piano's his.
All right, so that dude just earned his spot in the show notes for that beat.
He's got a shit ton more. Or if you listen to him, it's just like, what the fuck?
All right, I thought Snoop came up with that with Dr. Dre in Dr. Dre's living room.
No, this is still Dre.
I'm just kidding. All right, so welcome to episode 10 of season 3, arbitrarily entitled season 3.
For no reason.
How are we doing out there?
We are doing.
Is the revolution being televised?
It is not. I appreciate your 1990s jersey there.
Actually, I've been meaning to wear this on the podcast for a while now. This was given to me by Will Moses of the the podcast episode we did. Yeah. This is the Black American outdoorsman. Can't read upside down. Black American outdoorsman. I do not qualify to wear this. This is cultural appropriation and size appropriation because this is an extra large.
It's extra large.
It's like my sleeves are.
It looked like a 1990s jersey when you put it on. I'm sure when the adequate individual puts it on.
Adequate. Yeah. Actually, it's not that big on me.
No.
I could wear this. I could pull this off.
Yeah.
Except I'm not black.
Except there's that.
But I'm going to wear it this weekend, I think.
Are you? With the kill?
Maybe.
I think he'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Why not? It's meant for outdoors. And yeah. So speaking of this weekend, we got a pretty awesome class coming up this weekend. And unfortunately for you folks, oh my God, did you just light up a Cuban?
It's a fake Cuban.
All right. Good enough. Unfortunately for you all, it's sold out. So we are going to have a celebrity.
Oh shit!
Yeah, at the class.
Who is going to be there?
Hold on a second. I have to.
Besides Chuck.
Besides Chuck.
That motherfucker ain't a celebrity. That motherfucker's a legend.
This is my fault. Kelly Nightlinger. Kelly Nightlinger.
Who's that?
You know who she is?
No.
No, you don't. Of course not. She was on Naked and Afraid on Discovery, on the Discovery Channel.
Oh, nice.
She is an outdoors guide, adventure guide.
Here in Colorado?
Lives in Alaska. Is coming out for this class.
Oh, no shit.
Yeah.
Hell
she
yeah.
was. We actually we could have brought her up earlier, but we didn't want we didn't want thirsty dudes chasing. We wanted people who signed up for the class because they wanted to take the class, not to hang out with somebody who was naked on TV.
Well,
so
there's that.
Have you watched that show?
I have watched like a segment and then been like, this is fucking retarded.
I have not watched it at all.
Yeah.
So
you're not missing
much.
I'm sure she can tell you that it's probably one of the worst things she's ever done in her life.
Actually, I will ask her that.
Yeah.
I will ask her that.
You should.
And so she's her special guest for the class this weekend. She's going to be helping out with the survival stuff.
Oh, nice.
So that's cool. And what else we got going on? We're selling tickets for the TACMed class. We are now, we have 10 people signed up.
Yeah. If you haven't signed up, sign up for that shit. Shit's going to be dope as fuck.
But enough about us. Let's talk about law enforcement.
Go for it.
Sheriff Reams in Weld County finally wised up and saw things our way.
Yeah.
So, I have no respect for him now. He didn't stand up for himself.
It's kind of like we mentioned last time. I think we lost respect for him right off the bat. There was really no salvaging that respect back.
Yeah.
There just wasn't.
So you said he was continuing to tell. What were you saying?
So on Thursday, this is when we got word. Now, mind you, this is when we got the email. Let me see if I can find it here. He sent. Somebody took a screenshot. Fucking love technology. So they asked him, "Is it true you don't accept concealed carry certificates from Guns for Everyone?" We were not accepting. So the past tense, we were not accepting them for a while because they had not been issuing them required by law. That issue appears to have been resolved. So you're accepting them as long as they aren't counterfeit certificates blanks as we had previously received. So he's lying to his motherfuckers, telling them that we're not issuing them according to the law. Somebody may have, but us have always issued them according to the law. So that was the day we got the email from the attorney.
So that seems like a sort of shorthand way of explaining that the issue is now resolved, but it's factually incorrect.
Correct.
And it still makes us look like we were doing something illegal.
Correct.
So that's the problem. You
Correct.
can't. You gotta.
I'm just making smoke over here.
You gotta speak clearly into the microphone if you're going to be talking about somebody else's reputation.
Well, and that's the whole thing is all this fucking back and forth and this fucking halfway attempt to say, yeah, we are accepting them, but still not acknowledging that you're the one that fucked up. Because Weld is the one that fucked up. We didn't fuck up. We never fucked up. They fucked up. They fucked up for not accepting all of the certificates and just reaching out to us when they had a question.
That's all it would have taken.
That's it. So basically, that's what we figured out is now they have a number or a way to reach us directly, which is something they could have accomplished without fucking attorneys to do it.
Imagine how much time they would have saved if they didn't have to schedule appointments, then turn around and deny people the permit.
Oh, and not even denied, reject.
Reject.
Which is the worst thing.
Yeah.
They're just rejecting them, not providing people the due process to appeal and all that shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I look at this very pragmatically. He would have saved himself a lot of time if he had just made that phone call.
A fuck ton of time.
Yeah.
A fuck ton of time. And also, some delegation would have been fantastic. I mean, it kind of is. It's ridiculous that you hire individuals to head up a department in your office, but then you give them absolutely zero authority to do anything because the people at the desk are just like, I'm just doing what the boss said to do. So instead of, hey, I got hired to do a fucking job, that tells me it's horrible leadership. I not once, sometimes you have to correct motherfuckers and sometimes you got to fix shit and then you got to go in there and be like, hey, this is what we're doing. But overall, like if you hire somebody to do something, you fucking let them do the job.
Mm-hmm.
And if they're not performing, then that's when you fucking take that task away from them. But as long as they're performing, like you ain't got shit to do. That's why the fuck you hired somebody.
Yep.
So
exactly. That's the sign of a ineffective manager if you can't let people do their jobs.
Correct. So this is something that I didn't even have to talk to Reams about. I could have just talked to the head of the fucking conceal hanging permit department and just got it dealt with that way.
Yeah. Which is what you did with pretty much every other sheriff's office.
Every single one of them. I talked to, I think, maybe 2 sheriffs, and that's it. Logan County. But that was starting to get a little bit serious. And then I talked to Albert County Sheriff. Other than that, it was with just their CHP people.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, let's switch gears. I want to talk about Facebook.
Facebook.
You know that I have nothing but hate for Facebook.
You love Facebook.
I have nothing but disdain for Facebook.
What they do now? Where'd they touch you? Show me on the bear.
Actually, it's not them. It's not them.
Oh, shit.
They're actually, I believe, in the right here.
Shit.
The reason I want to talk about this is because I want to talk about what actually drives online content when it comes to platforms like Facebook and Instagram and what are the other ones? YouTube?
The YouTubes.
So there's a law that came out back when the internet first became a public place. And I can't remember what the law exactly is. People have brought it up recently because it does have an impact on what's going on today. But essentially what's going on is Facebook is being blamed for allowing quote unquote hate speech and fake news during the election. And they got into trouble for this back in 2016, but the public pressure is stepping up by a lot. I don't know if you've been paying attention, but Facebook is Zuckerberg is persona non grata right now to the media and to the social justice wave of whatever you want to call it. The law basically says that you don't have to be accountable for things that are posted to your platform if you don't editorialize it. So if you let anybody post anything, then you don't have to worry about getting in trouble for what people post on your platform, as long as it's not illegal, like child porn or
Correct.
things like that.
Yeah.
So Facebook has been trying to walk this line because they don't want to scare away advertisers by allowing quote unquote hate speech on their platform, but they also don't want to run afoul of this law saying that they're editorializing their content and having to be accountable for everything that's said on there.
Yeah.
So in the last 6 months or so, Facebook has really, actually more like the last 18 months or so, Facebook has really been swinging back towards, we're not going to editorialize. We're not going to remove hate speech or hate content on our platform. And where this gets into trouble is with things like this Stop the Hate for Profit campaign, which there's all these little nonprofits that are popping up in the last year or so that are basically extortion operations and or underhanded political action committees. So this Stop the Hate for Profit campaign targets social media and other advertising platforms and saying, hey, if you have hateful content on your platform and there's an ad next to it, we're going to go after that advertiser and let them know that they are advertising next to hate, which basically just goes after Facebook's advertising dollars.
Yeah.
Sleeping Giants is another one that's doing this. And so Facebook, back when they first got in trouble for the 2016 election, they agreed to an external audit of their content. And coincidentally, this audit came out, the results of this audit came out right in the middle of the Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, Stop Hate on All Levels campaign. And they're basically saying Facebook is promoting hate. They're doing a terrible job of censoring hate from their platform, and all advertisers need to abandon Facebook. And I guess Disney just announced that they were pulling their advertisement from Facebook.
Yeah, there was several companies pulling from.
Yeah.
Until they fixed this shit.
So in a weird way, I'm back on Facebook's side now. Because Facebook's approach to this has been to say, hands off, we're not doing anything. We're just gonna let things play out here.
Well, and I think that's where everybody should be at. It's just like the only way you can counteract this bullshit cancel culture, which is very cancerous. There's some shit that needs to go away. We all agree on that shit. There's very few people that disagree that there's some shit that just needs to go away. But
what needs to go away? Give me like at least one example.
Well, I mean, if you have, I'm just talking in general. I'm no longer talking about Facebook.
Right. In general.
Yeah. I mean, I'd like, me as a Mexican, I'd really appreciate if the KKK went away.
Okay.
If shit like that went away, but it largely goes away in my individual life if I just don't pay any attention to it. You know, if I don't go looking for that shit, to a degree. So the overcorrection is always the issue. It's not the let's address the quote unquote hate speech, but it's kind of what we did in that post where I updated the one that went viral for us. I did an update, and there was probably a lot of people are like, delete this shit. Why are you allowing this type of shit on your pages? It's like, nah, you motherfuckers need to see it, acknowledge it, and then fucking go after the fucking racist.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's kind of collectively we can all do that shit together. A lot of people had great comments and other people needed to be shut down, but you delete them and then nobody can shut them down.
Well, you scare that thinking out into the corners, you know.
Yeah.
I'm amazed beyond amazement that in a time where we have nothing but canceling going on, that people still feel like it's a good idea to post some pretty sketchy things on Facebook, including all over the comments to that video. Like, I'm not saying people should stop saying what they think, but I'm kind of amazed at how stupid people are and thinking that stuff can't touch them.
Correct. And I mean, it's you're entitled to be a dumbass, but the consequences will always be there.
Yeah, and if you go to that post, which I believe was in the show notes for last episode, but I was going to try to pull it up real quick. I was just going to try to comb for an example comment. While I'm doing that, like, keep going about what you think about this Facebook issue.
Well, I don't know much about it. Apparently, it's the Communications Decency Act, so I don't know much about it. All I know is that we need a platform, whether they have the right intentions or not, because Facebook may not be trying to do the right thing here. They're probably just like, hey, there's a fucking law here that kind of binds us, but we do need a major platform to just be like, you know what, you do what the fuck you want to do. We'll survive either way. We're a publicly traded company. Investors will come one way or another. They'll see our vision. We own different platforms. Facebook isn't our only source of income anymore. We've got Instagram. They purchased a few other companies. They got WhatsApp. So globally, WhatsApp is probably a little bit larger. It's like the law in Mexico to use it, and many other countries. So we definitely need a big platform, again, for one reason or another, to just tell all these motherfuckers to fuck off, suck a dick.
I don't think it works. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm all for these companies doing what they want to do and people participating if they want to. As stupid as I think it is, I'm all for people being able to do what they want to online. And if that means getting onto a platform and yelling at strangers, like, that's on you. If that's how you want to live your life, that's cool. I don't think it works, though. I don't think that giving people a place to do that accomplishes anything positive. I might be wrong about that, but I really don't see anything positive about social networks that couldn't be accomplished through other means that are less destructive.
Yeah.
And I mean, I say that knowing that, you know, a lot of companies depend on these types of platforms, and, you know, we've done our fair share of participating, but I really don't see anything positive here that you couldn't accomplish with something else that doesn't provide you without Facebook, something else that doesn't just give you a what's the word I'm looking for? A portal into hell. Because that's what I think these things are. I think that they're a portal into hell. And you could follow somebody like Dwayne Johnson and get some good motivation and stuff, but I don't really think that comes close to balancing out how horrible these platforms are. We are not designed to be exposed to this much negativity. It is horrible.
Oh, it is so fucking.
Yeah. Glenn Mew. I don't know how to pronounce that last name. I'm just going to assume that it's Mew. Commented on the video, "No tears. Feel free to take each other out." That's a pretty mild one.
There was one that I think you replied to. He's like, "Oh, go figure, a black dude stealing shit." And you tell him, "Oh, go figure, racist from Florida."
Not to write off a whole state or anything. Billy Bolognese, which sounds like a made-up name, but says it's in their DNA. And these are the mild ones.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, how do you think that this is a good idea to put this out publicly?
Correct.
I'm sure Billy Bolognese has never heard of Guns for Everyone, doesn't know anybody who follows them, just had this come across their feed and felt the impulse to type something like that and hit send. Like, dude, his picture is right next to that comment.
To take time out of your day to comment on a page you've never heard of.
I think
it's insane how much energy had to go through your system to say some stupid shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think, so it's Jason Henley. Jason Henley. Let's see if we can find. I'm not trying to like out people. I'm
You
just trying to show you like how stupid this is. This guy lives in Grand Junction, Colorado. He's from Seattle. He's got his picture right there. First thing that you see. If you go to his about, I'm sure you could figure out. Oh yeah, there's his job. And he says, "Black man, go figure." I'm like, really?
Should we call his job?
Yeah, we should call him up. I'm not trying to cancel people. Like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm shocked that people would do this, you know?
Yeah.
I'm shocked that people would be this stupid. I shouldn't be this shocked.
Yeah, we shouldn't be this shocked.
But
yeah.
It's there's things that don't surprise me, and a lot of things that people stand there with their mouth open and their eyes not blinking, just total shock. I'm like, yeah, you should have expected that. But this kind of stuff,
it's shit like that where it's just like, like I prefer not to surround myself around that negative shit, which is ultimately why I made an update to that post and addressed the races collectively. So if I was an advertiser and I kept seeing that, like I could see that, but at the same time, it gets to the point where it's just like, where the fuck are we going to advertise next? Because it's going to get to a point where we just can't advertise at all because everything's. And here's the thing: we kind of touched on this last week. It's offensive to a very, very fucking loud, extremely loud minority.
Right.
Like, it's not even the majority that gives a shit. It's an extremely fucking loud, small amount of individuals who, for some reason, have so much fucking power and influence in all of this stuff.
Well, if you're an advertiser and you have the most powerful advertising platform at your fingertips, and from what I understand, Facebook is the most powerful by far. Their analytics and their presentation of ads to the right person at the right time, they beat everyone by multiple factors.
Correct.
And if somebody comes along and says, "Hey, you are advertising next to this hate campaign,
Correct.
We want you to stop using Facebook," and if you're, quote, socially conscious and you're worried and blah 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 blah, yes, you're going to pull your ads for that week. And then you're going to come back next week and you're like, all right, is anybody watching? All right, fire up the ad campaign again.
Correct. Or you're just going to do it in the worst fucking spot because Facebook has the platform right now. Facebook's got the monopoly on it, I guess, so to speak. But there's other avenues where they could just do basically the exact same shit. I mean, it just, at some point, it's kind of like the people who like to boycott. Like, it's just like, if I boycotted everything that I hated, like, I wouldn't shop. Like, I would not shop at all.
By the way, there's two things about boycotting, because that's essentially what they're doing here. Correct. By trying to cancel advertisers. It's a form of boycott. And people are getting so mad at the left for doing this. And they're so mad at the social justice warriors for ruining everything. And there's ad campaigns on TV. This is why you see Gillette acting like morons with their ad campaigns, and people forget who started this tactic. Do you remember who started this tactic?
Some conservative. Well, how back do you want to go?
Well, if you go back just to recent memory, you can go to the difference between Happy Holidays and Merry Christmas.
Yeah, the Christians.
Yeah, I mean, it has been the Christians for a long time. It started
because I remember some crazy bitch that tried to cancel Married with Children, some Christian lady, or rap music, or all that shit.
Wow, Tipper Gore?
No, Tipper Gore was the music, but what the fuck was the bitch that tried to get Married with Children canceled? Fuck is that bitch's name?
Shoot, I don't know. Let me see.
I'm gonna look it up.
Who tried to get Married with Children canceled? Donahue was really good at this because he brought all these people on his show and had them confront each other. Let's see. Married with Children.
Who's a boycott lady? Terry Ricolta.
Terry Ricolta.
Yeah, Terry Ricolta, fucking bitch didn't get dick down properly. Her kid was watching fucking Married with Children and started boycotting fucking, and she successfully campaigned for a lot of advertisers to pull from Married with Children.
So that was a big deal because The Simpsons came out at the same time, and you had In Living Color. In Living Color was a little bit more insulated because it was a late night show, but The Simpsons was a big one. Letitia said it was actually Yo Mama. I don't know if that actually squared. We might have to do some research about Yo Mama.
My mom.
But yeah, it was several TV shows, and Fox was the leading the charge of TV shows that were pushing the boundaries.
Correct.
Fox, the ultra conservative network now.
Well, it's owned by
Supposedly.
Disney now.
Yeah, owned by Disney, which means it's owned by the Chinese.
The Chinese. I don't think they took Fox News though.
I think that they have. I think that you mean Disney or the Chinese?
The Disney. I don't think they took Fox News. I think they took Fox 21 Century Fox, which is The Simpsons and all that shit. But I think they left Fox News alone.
Fox News, it is its own universe. Yeah, so I have made a decision, and I'm coming out right now with this decision. I'm making it public, and I know I'm going to take heat for it, but I don't care.
Sure.
You ready?
Ready.
I'm voting for Trump.
What? Surprise!
I didn't vote for him last time, and there was no way I was going to vote for him last time. But I'm voting for him this time.
Why?
Because of what's going on with the Chinese. If I'm going to become a single issue voter for the president, it's the president's position on the Chinese.
So what has he done to eliminate anything that's Chinese related or fix anything with the Chinese? I don't think he's as strong as people say he is with the Chinese, but I want to hear.
Okay, well, getting anything done is the hard part.
Yeah.
Because the Chinese have their fingers in everything. They've got their fingers in state government. They've got their fingers in local government, school council or school boards, city councils, major media, like second media, Hollywood, academia. I did not realize how far China's reach is. So Trump negotiated the trade deal back in 2019. I mean, they signed it in 2019 or early 2020. And hold on, I want to be right about that. October. Okay. October, they reached a tentative agreement for their trade deal, and they signed the first phase of the trade deal that was supposed to equalize the trade between China and the U.S. and also strengthen the laws against intellectual property theft. China's done that for decades. They're horrible. They are the worst by far. And they're stealing intellectual property on every level: academic, economic, government, defense, all that stuff.
That's one that I'm on their side about.
About stealing intellectual property?
Thoughts? Like stealing thoughts?
No, not stealing thoughts, stealing patents, stealing designs, stealing military secrets, stealing academic research, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm kind of iffy about the copyright shit and trademarks and all that stuff, but I get it.
So
what up, Luis?
So the deal was signed in October. It was just the first phase, and there was a clause at the end of the deals called a force majeure clause, which basically said, we're going to follow through on this deal, but we both reserve the right to renegotiate the deal.
Correct.
If something crazy happens.
Like a coronavirus?
Like a coronavirus. So the deal has gone nowhere since December.
Because of coronavirus.
Because of coronavirus. And the Chinese are ramping up their pressure on our country a lot, including socially. When you see a headline like, just pick any headline like activists tearing down a statue of an abolitionist, right? I think that happened in Philly. I can't remember where that happened. But activists tear down this statue, and the guy was an abolitionist. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Frederick Douglass, right?
I don't think it was Frederick Douglass. I think it was a lesser known.
Oh, okay.
Maybe the chat room can help. That doesn't make any sense,
Yeah.
right? That's foolish. That's stupid. That doesn't. And why is it in the news? I mean, statues being torn down everywhere. Why do they pick that one? Because it confuses people, I think. This is why. It confuses people, it pisses people off, and it divides us even further. It doesn't make any sense why they would tear that statue down. This is not a social movement pro move here. This is just.
Well, even the one here in Colorado was pretty perplexing.
Which one was that one?
This one was the one that was outside of the Capitol.
The soldier?
Yeah, the soldier was a Union soldier.
Oh, yeah, he was a Union soldier.
So he fought to free the slaves, arguably, anyways.
Right. So you see stuff happen like Chaz.
Yeah.
Chaz doesn't make any logical sense. It makes sense like the first few days of Chaz kind of makes sense. But what goes on from there doesn't make any sense.
No.
And it just confuses people, and it pushes us further into a divided country.
And now they let the Chinese come in to pick up people from Oregon and take them to China.
Well, yeah, I don't know what's going on out there. That's a very strange thing. But you go on, this whole mask controversy is being exploited. You know, I'm a freedom lover. I don't wear a mask, and I'm afraid I'm going to wear a mask. This stuff doesn't make any logical sense when you put it all together. All it does is piss people off.
Correct.
And while we're fighting each other, China is foot to the floor trying to take over this country.
Correct.
And Trump is the only person who seems
also, what happened to fucking being mad at cultural appropriation?
Me?
No, just in general.
Because I'm wearing the shirt. Cultural appropriation from the Chinese.
The Chinese, like they started the mask thing, and all of a sudden we're just like, we're gonna do the mask thing.
It's weird, man. It's like it's getting weirder and weirder. Joel says China is slowly crumbling. I don't think so. I don't think so. Their economic development has been off the hook. They are taking a page. One of the most important secrets they ever stole from us was the economic assassinations of other countries. We pioneered that, and they are doing a great job of that. They're one belt, one road, three belts, one road. I can't remember what it is. One belt, one road. Yeah. Basically, it's a modern version of the. It's called the Belt and Road Initiative. It's a modern version of the Silk Road, but it highly leverages other countries' economies into China's favor, and they are kicking some serious ass at it. They're basically taking over the world from an economic standpoint. And I have said this for a long time. A lot of my ideas have changed over the years, but this one has not. And I'm unapologetic about it. If there's going to be one country that runs the world, I want to be in that country. I'd rather not be in the country that's getting run by another country.
So you're going to move to China?
I might have to. I'm going to have to start learning how to speak Chinese. Move to Wuhan.
I mentioned this briefly on the Hank Strange podcast. That idea that what's the difference now between living here and living in any other country? Because you hear that shit all the time. It's like, if you don't like it here, just fucking leave. Like, it's just like, I've been seriously considering it because, like, realistically, what's the difference?
Guns.
Guns
are the difference.
There's guns everywhere.
Yeah, there's guns everywhere, but get caught with one anywhere except this country.
Everybody says that, but nobody has any proof.
Okay. Well, yeah. I
See,
where are you going to get proof, though?
We always say that, and then we don't live there.
That's true.
We've never been caught in that country with guns. Like, we don't have firsthand experience. We just say that just to say that to make the U.S. seem
Okay, I'll tell you
superior.
this. I would tell you this. I had a friend who lived in China. I'm sorry, in Japan,
Japan.
and he said nobody has anything bigger than a small kitchen knife.
Yeah.
Like, you cannot get a sharp object in Japan.
Okay.
They're not. I mean, and if you get caught with one, you're going to prison. And if you get caught with weed in Japan, you're going to prison.
Okay.
The only people that have weapons in Japan are the Yakuza.
That's
Which,
the military police.
No, that's the gang, the organized crime ring.
Yeah.
So there's one piece of anecdotal evidence.
So,
And this guy was a chef.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody who needs knives.
correct. So, but even then, it's just like we're getting to the point where it's all going to go away anyways.
It might, but until it does,
It will. Like, freedom of speech. I can go to Mexico and criticize the president. They have rallies there fucking weekly.
can you criticize the cartels?
You can't criticize the cartels here. Like, I dare you to fucking make a big ass fucking video criticizing the cartels or the Clintons.
True. Did you hear about that assassination?
That shit was crazy, dude.
Okay, for those of you who don't know, a federal judge's son and husband
The husband didn't die, but the son did.
were murdered by a guy dressed as a FedEx driver.
Did the husband die? I thought the husband didn't die.
I know the one of them did. I don't know if
The
both of
son
them did.
died.
But I know who else died.
Who else?
The assassin.
Oh yeah, he killed himself.
Uh-huh.
So-
Yeah, I'm sure he shot himself twice in the back of the head. Yeah, knock, knock, FedEx.
They already have memes of Hillary in a FedEx uniform. The
My
package has been delivered.
my brother-in-law wrote Epstein didn't kill himself on the back of his car before because it was all dusty from being on a dirt road. And I wrote underneath of it, Maxwell didn't either. Yeah, dude, that was a hit. That was definitely a hit. And that is some creepy stuff. And of course, that's not major news. You know, a federal judge's son is murdered and then the assassin
Correct.
turns up dead.
So shit like that is just like it happens here too. That doesn't. just
Yeah,
happen there.
it happens here. But I mean, if I'm going to live in any country, any government is going to be corrupt, is going to have problems. But
Correct.
supposedly the United States was built strictly upon the rule of law. No monarchies, no old families running the country, although there are, but there's not supposed to be. It's not enshrined in our law that certain families run the country. We do have a judicial system that does work better than probably most do. And we got McDonald's on every corner. Like, what more do you want?
But see, it's shit like that, and then you see what's going on in Oregon, and everybody's like, I don't know where those people are going. Like, that's the judicial system we have. Secret prisons in Chicago, and everybody's like, I don't know what happened.
Oh, that was happening back when which presidential or which convention was it where people were being disappeared off the street?
I don't know.
I think it was in 2008. It was in Chicago. They had a warehouse where they were housing protesters. No real judicial process going on. People just being arrested and held for a certain amount of time and then released with no charges and nothing.
So it's shit like that, and I mean, when I bring it up, everybody's just like, well, it's because, it's like, well, it's the truth. You're telling me that they do this in Mexico and they do this in China and they do this in Japan, but I can show you 1,000 times when it happens here as well.
True. But it's not a normal circumstance in the U.S. for 30 bodies to turn up in a mass grave. Like, that's not a typical experience in the U.S. Yet. Any system is prone to fail. Any system will eventually disintegrate, and that's what we're seeing here. I was talking to my father-in-law about this, and I was mentioning China, and he said the problem with our country, the fundamental problem with our country is greed. Greed has destroyed this country from
Correct.
the inside out.
Yeah.
The corporations that have moved their operations to China and sold secrets to China, greed. The people who buy their products that are cheaper, the millions of hardcore Trump-loving conservatives who spend all day long at Walmart, and I know they're there. I see them with their shirts on
all the time. Yeah.
buying cheap Chinese
Chinese
goods and
Yep.
wheeling themselves in and out of the stores on their little scooters. And if you were to tell that person to put on a mask, I'm sure the word Trump would come out of their mouth within the first 15 seconds. So we're all guilty. We're all guilty. I'm just as guilty as anybody else.
Right.
I'm buying Chinese optics for my guns.
Nice.
Because they're just as good and they're half the price.
Third of the price.
A third of the price, yeah. And so we're all responsible for this, and people they want to blame everybody else for what's going on, and we need to take responsibility. Like if you,
So I ask
and
again.
I'm talking to myself here because I'm buying Chinese stuff as we speak.
So I ask again. Outside of the gun stuff, for right now,
Mm-hmm.
what's the difference between, say, the U.S. and Canada, or the U.S. and Ireland, or
The
or
U.S. does
left?
not. The U.S. does not have Bill C-16.
What's that?
All right, let me pull it up.
Yeah.
Canada, not yet. Yeah, they will. We will, because we already have the predecessors to Bill C-16. Wikipedia says.
So Ted Moyer says that there's only 8. There's only 8 on that channel. There's closer to like 30 people overall, I think, watching us.
Yeah.
But yes, it should be 1,000 of us.
Tad, you could share.
You could share it.
Share. Sharing is caring.
Sharing
is caring. An act to amend the Canadian Human Rights Act and the Criminal Code. This passed 248 to 40 and 67 to 11 in the Canadian House and Senate. The summary: the bill is intended to protect individuals from discrimination within the sphere of federal jurisdiction and from being the targets of hate propaganda as a consequence of their gender identity or their gender expression. The bill adds gender identity or expression to the list of prohibited grounds of discrimination in the Canadian Human Rights Act.
You're talking a hate crime?
Specifically on gender identity.
So, yeah, we already have that here. I mean, we don't specify it to just gender identity, but if you were to go call somebody a faggot and then punch them in the nose, that'd be a hate crime.
Actually, that happened in Colorado Springs.
So we have that here already.
Hold on. Hate.
See, fucker, everything, we already have it here. Like, it just, we call it something different and we Americanize it and we're like, well, ours is better.
Yeah, I'm trying. Shoot, I should have grabbed this. Somebody in Colorado Springs yelled a racial slur at somebody and got arrested
for a hate crime.
Yeah.
So yeah, the same shit. So we do have that bill here. We just call it something different.
Yeah, it's harder to prosecute here, but it is here. I'm not gonna argue. It is here definitely.
So again, like, what's the fucking difference?
Well, the only way to find out is to execute.
Yeah, I mean that really is the only way to find out.
Casey says Czech Republic is quite gun friendly. That is true, and it's a beautiful place from what I understand. Very hard language to learn though, so that's out.
Well, just fucking conquer it and turn it into English.
So C-16, you can actually be prosecuted for misgendering somebody.
That's why you call everybody fuckers.
Is that with an A or an O, or an A or an O on the end of it? Yeah, Joel points out Iraq is quite gun friendly too. I guess that's not the only not the only right that you need to be paying attention to. I don't know. Like I'll say this: I've been all over this country.
Yeah,
I have been to lots of places. I've been to almost every state. I've been to Brentwood in outside of Beverly Hills. I've been to Cabrini Green. in Chicago. I have been to, like, you've been with you to Compton. I've been to some of the nicest places in New England, and I've been around the world a little bit. I've been to decent places in Mexico and the ghettos of Mexico. I've been to nice places in Ethiopia, and I've been to the ghettos in Ethiopia. I've been all over the place. I like it here.
But do you like it here because this is your home? I mean, there's been plenty of places where I become accustomed to,
Yeah.
and I move out of that place. So like, oh, okay, like I know why I liked it. It's just it was familiar to me.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily that it was that I prefer it over one other place. It's just that it became home.
Yeah. I guess you could say I do have a bias towards it because I know it.
Yeah.
Richard, I have been to some rough places in Baltimore.
Because like when you lived in Massachusetts, no, you lived in New Hampshire.
New Hampshire.
You got comfortable to that bitch.
Yeah, yes, to a degree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
San Diego, you'd probably move back to.
No,
Never?
No, never.
Fuck that place.
It's the culture and it's the laws.
Oh,
yeah. It's I'm going back to visit. I'll visit anytime, definitely, but I am not moving back to California under any circumstance. I guess you could say that's a part of our country that has become more repressive. I mean, I'd moved to Mexico before I moved to California. So, but having been to a bunch of places in Mexico, I have to agree, it's a nice place. It really is. I mean, I've been to some bad parts, but it's nice.
Yeah, if you choose the right spots, I mean, just like anything else, you choose the right spots and you can be okay.
But even in the nice spots of Mexico, I'm driving down the street and I get stopped by a federal police officer just to look at my car.
Nice.
That doesn't happen here.
Well,
I mean, okay, it's happening in Portland, but there's 53 days of rioting going on there.
No, I'm sure there's a lot of people that could argue that they've been pulled over just to check out their car for no reason.
By a federal police officer with a machine gun?
Well, just because you don't see the machine gun or the AR, but if you, what's that highway between the one from Texas goes down to I believe Louisiana, where they're constantly stopping.
Oh, it's Kentucky through Louisiana.
They're constantly stopping people, or some dude had like $10,000 fucking stolen from him.
Yeah, not eminent domain.
Forfeit asset or
asset forfeiture. Yeah,
asset forfeiture. Yeah.
I've been pulled over by the Border Patrol in Arizona by federal agents. That's true. That's true. Like if we were going to put this on a scale, I think all the countries in the world experience a lot of similar issues.
Absolutely. And I think that's where a lot of people get hung up. Like, oh, I don't see it on a daily basis. I guarantee you can ask. And I use Mexico because, well, that's my motherland. And I have been to Mexico, and I still have family who actively lives there. If you ask them on their day-to-day, they're going to like, yeah, I've never seen a mass grave. I've never seen, me personally, I've never seen people getting pulled over just for the fuck of it. I've never seen a federal cop pull somebody over, because you can ask my cousins and they'll tell you like, yeah, this has never happened to me.
Right. Well, yeah, it can happen anywhere. I mean, we have to remember no matter what country you go to, we're dealing with people. And people are the fundamental problem and the fundamental solution.
Yeah.
And so the good things you're going to be seeing in different countries are all done by people, and the bad things are all done by people. And
always.
So there are definite places on this planet where you could not pay me to go, to live. To visit, yeah. I'll visit almost anywhere, but to live, no. But there's plenty of places where I'm sure you get left completely alone and you can do what you want. I think.
Yeah, because you'd be the only motherfucker there.
Yeah. Probably.
I
So
heard of this one fucking island, and then I remembered
how hot it
humidity.
gets. Yeah.
Yeah, fucking humidity.
Islands are, you got to live in the water if you're going to go live on an island out there. It's hot.
But one of the most desolate, I forget what the island is, and it looks fucking pretty badass. The fuck is it called? It's in the southern hemisphere.
Madagascar?
Oh,
I hear it's pretty hot there too.
what the fuck is this island called?
So I don't know how we got from Facebook to this.
I don't know, dude.
But Reddit has a huge amount of investment from the Chinese.
No way.
Yeah, way. And I've been cruising Reddit a lot lately just to kind of have my finger on the pulse of like the hardcore left. And then I've also been cruising AR15.com's general discussion section for a pulse on the hardcore right. And the language going back and forth, I mean, not that these people talk to each other, but the language that's being used by both sides is pretty friggin' scary.
Yeah.
Like we are going very fast and towards bloodshed, like serious bloodshed. And I think that this is all politically motivated. I think that if Joe Biden wins and it looks like he won fair and square in October or in November, I think this all goes away. Or at least most of it goes away.
You think so?
Yeah.
Why?
Because that's the whole point of all of this stuff is to get him elected.
I still find it really hard to believe that he would win.
I don't think he's going to win. I'm just saying if he does.
Yeah. But I think you're right. I can't disagree with ultimately, like at this point, Trump can turn into Joe Biden and people would still hate Trump just for the sake of hating Trump. Like, I hate to admit that, but Trump does something in the left that just has turned him batshit crazy. Now he's a fucking idiot and he sucks for guns and all that shit. But we have to concede the fact that the left, that motherfucker can start healing kids and walking on water and fucking arrest the Clintons, bring all the troop home. He can revamp fucking Obamacare and make it better for the left, and they still be like, nah, fuck that shit. I hate that motherfucker, which is sad.
Well, I think it's two things. Two things. Number one, he is a Republican, even though he's not. He is, right? At least that's the letter behind his name. That's the ticket he's running on. And you remember how they treated George Bush in the left, how the left treated George Bush from 2000 to 2008. That man was universally hated by the left, except for about maybe 3 months from September to December of 2001, because it wasn't okay to criticize the president while we were in the middle of getting attacked by terrorists. That was not socially acceptable. You got the island up. What is the island you got there?
It is Tristan the Kuna. Look at where the fuck that shit's at. Boom.
Whoa, it's halfway between South America and the Horn of, or not the Horn of Africa, but the Cape of Good Hope in South Africa. Wow, I bet it gets cold there though.
From everything I've seen, no. Because
it's got a volcano.
Yeah.
I didn't know there were islands right there. Holy
like it is like the most desolate fucking place on earth, according to
according to you.
No. If you Google that shit, it's the most desolate fucking spot in the world.
What's it called? TR what?
Tristan. DACUNHA. I think you could only travel there like once a month. In and out, because then it's all by boat.
Is there tourism there?
Yeah, there's a little bit of tourism, but I think that's the whole town right there, dude.
Wow. That's awesome. I would go there.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I bet you could have a lot of fun there with guns.
Oh, fuck yeah. You just go to this side where there's nothing there, shoot in the water. But I bet you it's humider than a motherfucker, dude.
Yes, humider than a motherfucker. I lost my train of thought. Oh, okay. So it was Bush was universally hated by the left.
Correct.
And Obama did a lot of what Bush did. And Obama is the Jesus Christ of our political past.
Yes.
Well, and of our recent political past.
Yes.
So Trump has that Republican thing behind his name, so that makes him universally hated. I think the left reacts stronger, more emotionally than the right does. The right gets pretty pissed off, but they seem to treat it differently. Not to mention the left controls the media, or I should say the Chinese control the media. The other thing is that Trump really is an outsider politically. He is an anti-globalist. He hates China. And I think if you were to summarize most of the public hate of Trump, you could trace it back to China. The Chinese control of all these politicians and media organizations and companies and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
I think it's all being driven by China. And who pays the bills for the New York Times? The Chinese. And so if Trump is...
They're in a bunch of fucking trouble right now, too.
The New York Times?
Yeah.
Did you read the open letter by Barry Weiss?
Dude, there's been like 2 or 3 of their fucking big time reporters that are like, nah, these fuckers are going like cuckoo land. When you have liberal reporters who are like, nah, I want to be a journalist, even if it is swayed a little to the left. But these motherfuckers are going into cuckoo land, just making shit up. And like openly saying, like, fuck you guys.
Yeah, so Barry Weiss is a very hard left-leaning journalist who was, I believe, an editor at the New York Times.
And after that, he left too.
Yeah, she wrote a blistering letter of resignation, open letter to the New York Times.
Yeah,
and she published it on her blog. I've put it in the show notes. It's wow. Everything that people have been saying about the media is in that letter.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
And if you're hardcore right, or even if you're just borderline, like, I don't really like the liberal media, like this letter, you will never recover from this.
And here's my take on that: is liberal or conservative, you shouldn't like the media, period. Like, you should understand that Fox News is full of shit. They've been caught lying and photoshopping shit and just plain old fucking giving you fucking horseshit. Just as much as CNN and NBC and all that shit is like just that top level bullshit, money driven. Ain't nothing wrong with capitalism, but when that's your sole, like, that's one of the reasons why I hate teachers union. This is one that people hate me on. This is why we end up in different fucking conversations. But it's just any teacher that's part of a teachers union for me is not a genuine teacher, because all you're worried about is that seniority and getting paid. Because if you really cared about teaching, you wouldn't give 2 fucks about protesting or I mean, you'd care about raises and shit like that. But ultimately, you went into teaching for teaching. So at some point, I get to question: is it really about teaching, or is it really about just getting paid? So same thing with these fuckers: is the media is just advertisers.
Mm-hmm. That's all it is, and people forget that. I mean, they're reminded of it sometimes. I guess Tucker Carlson is limited to basically one advertiser at this point, if he ever even comes back on the air.
Yeah,
he's on leave right now. They might be getting rid of him, but he's just down to like one advertiser, and that's how you get rid of people, because that's the business model. It's advertising, and it has been that way for a long time. There's nothing new about that.
Yeah.
And you get organizations that are more focused on journalism and they're trying to do the right thing and they can't survive
Nope.
because they don't pull in those ad dollars because
Correct.
they're not writing to the lizard brain.
Correct.
They're writing towards the part of the brain that people don't use on a daily basis.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, there's no sensationalism.
And sensationalism, people think that, like it's debased and it's all that we, it's all that they feed us. Your brain is wired to look for that information.
Correct.
Your brain responds more strongly to negative information than it does to positive information.
Correct.
You have to train it to not do that.
Yeah.
Because we evolved to focus on threats. And now we live in a country where I can go to get a crispy buttermilk sandwich at 11 o'clock, and I know that that store will be open. And I know that my little piece of plastic that I carry in my wallet will get me food, and it'll be delicious, and it'll be salty, and it'll be fattening, and I'll enjoy every minute of it. I don't have anything to worry about anymore. So now my brain can just run wild worrying about things that don't mean anything to me. So Tad asks, is it true about we can't wear a mask if we have a CCW? No.
That's not true.
Not true. There's nothing in the Colorado revised statutes about wearing a mask and carrying a concealed firearm. So Miguel got banned from posting on Facebook. Miguel, what were you doing?
The fuck were you doing?
Posting
and Miguel is
Nazi propaganda.
I was just going there. Like, Miguel is the antithesis of Nazi propaganda. Like, he is quite the opposite of that shit. So that's surprising.
If I'm not mistaken, maybe I am mistaken, but I thought Miguel was a kind of a sharp, like a Mexican sharp.
He was, and we should just fucking get him on here. But yeah, he was a traditional skinhead.
Yeah. Skinheads against racist people, I think is what SHARP stands for. Yeah, we need to get him on. I mean, he comes around, right? You got him coming around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We do need to get him on.
Oh, I want to bring up this whole mask thing real quick. Joel says you can be exempt from wearing a mask if you have a medical condition. I took my daughter to gymnastics tonight, and they have a sign on the door that says the governor requires everyone to wear a mask. So if you come in, please wear a mask. However, if you have a medical condition that says that prevents you from wearing a mask, then you don't have to wear a mask. And due to HIPAA and the Fourth Amendment, we are prohibited from asking you what your medical condition is. So if you're not wearing a mask, we're just going to assume you have a good reason.
So they went with that sign?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm like, none of this makes any sense.
That sign's been floating around. That's kind of like the conservative way of saying do whatever the fuck you want. And we ain't going to question it, or like encouraging people not to wear a mask by saying that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
None of it makes any sense.
No.
Why not just not have a sign and not bust anybody?
So one thing that I'm fucking happy about, since we're talking about that shit, and I'm almost passed out because that was the first cigar I've had in like 2 years.
Nicotine doesn't hit me when I smoke a cigar. I don't know what it is.
Oh, man,
I'm
dude.
like super sensitive.
I don't even inhale because I don't think you're supposed to inhale cigars. I don't know how to probably smoke one. I just want to look like I've got a big phallic symbol in my mouth.
I think most people do not inhale cigars.
Good.
Most people.
But anyways, Players Club, one of the strip clubs that my wife and I frequent, they're suing because I guess there's a 50-foot minimum or 25-foot minimum that the strippers have to be from you. And their argument is like, motherfucker, if a server comes and gives you a drink, they're going to be right next to you giving you a fucking drink. And you're not wearing a mask because you don't have to wear one at the fucking table. Like, it's just like the floor is COVID now. It's not lava. The floor is COVID now. Once you make it to your fucking table, then you're safe. The COVID just like fucking stops right there. I can't have titties in my fucking face because that'll give me COVID. But if I have fucking the same titties bring me a drink, then no COVID there.
Not to mention that COVID's probably not the first disease you're worried about. in such an establishment.
No, not the least bit. And you know what? I still don't give a fuck.
Unless people fart COVID out of their
They probably do. I think there's a study. Watch, COVID and farts. I bet
COVID and fart study. Yeah.
COVID and farts. Bet.
Joel said something about mono. Did we hit mono all of a sudden? Oh, I thought you meant mono like stereo versus mono. Never mind.
There we go.
All right. Hit me.
Can farts transmit COVID-19 coronavirus? Lifting the lid on coronavirus flatulence. Can the New York Post fact check? No evidence that passing gas. So there has been fucking
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's how far we're taking.
Oh my God. Wow. There are a lot of hits on that.
Trump supporter wears COVID diapers to prevent. Oh man, dude. Science says COVID-19 can possibly be spread through farts.
Oh, click on that one. Click on that one. Science says COVID-19. This is the headline. Can possibly be spread through farts.
That's
what website is this?
This is a radio station. 92 Moose. You know they do their homework. The longer the COVID pandemic goes on, the more we inherently learn about how it is spread and the way we help contain it. This, however, is not something I expected to learn today. Blah blah blah. Fucking.
Is there a link to the science?
Yeah, right here. How to avoid COVID-19.
No. I see a link up in the article.
Nutrition. His name is Dr. Michael Greger, and he is the founder of a website called nutritionfacts.org.
Okay, hold on. Spread farts. I gotta get this link. 92 Moose. 92 Moose.
How not to die. Well, one of the specialties at his website is creating a video content to educate users. Anyways.
Okay, I gotta throw that in the show notes. All right, getting back to masks. Getting back to masks.
Max.
Tad asks, do you make your class wear a mask?
I do not at all. No.
What do you say? Because I'm sure you say something.
Yeah, I tell them, do whatever the fuck you guys want. Wear one. Don't fucking wear one. I don't give a fuck. You're a grown-ass motherfucking person. I'm not your doctor. I'm not a fucking politician. I don't give a fuck what you do.
There you go. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a politician. Politician is probably more relevant. Yeah, I tell everybody the same thing. You can stand in the corner and not go near anybody, or you can invade my personal space and smell my bad breath. I don't care.
You will fuck.
Whatever you want to do is fine with me. And I've had people who have kept their distance from me. They like slip me the certificate and they stand back and let me sign it, and then they kind of grab it with two fingers and then walk out of there.
And here's my position on it, and it's been this way because I'm a germaphobe. I encourage people to leave the classroom during breaks and get fresh air. I think you and I are kind of on the same boat where it's just like we're not on purpose going to go out there and catch the Rona, but we're done kind of living in fear, especially when we don't really know what the fuck is going on. The chances of us getting it is fucking minimal. So fucking minimal. But it's not zero. And obviously you've got circumstances where it would suck if you got it. Mm-hmm. And I have circumstances where it would suck if I get it. So it's not like you're not careful, but this whole mask thing, like it's not proven. It's not. A lot of people will tell you, oh, the science is there. Fucking dumbass. It's just when lead was in gasoline. I brought the shut up and Hank Strange's shit too. Like when lead was in gasoline, there was a lot of scientists for corporations to make money that were saying, especially for the petrol and automobile industry, who were saying lead was more than okay to be in your vehicle and you breathing it in. Oh yeah, I have a poster. It's somewhere in my, I don't know, it's somewhere in storage, but it's a poster of more doctors recommend Camel cigarettes than any other brand. So this whole shit is retarded. Like, but you don't believe in science? Like it's fucking retarded. Because again, this wasn't that long ago. This was within 100 years where you had scientists saying, "Oh no, Mad Hatter disease. That's just happening because just the natural level of lead in our environment." Yeah. When in reality, no, motherfuckers, fucking cars at a red light fucking their exhaust was all lead, and motherfuckers were going batshit crazy because there was too much lead, and the doctors were like, "Nope, scientists say it's okay, lead in the fucking vehicles."
And we know a lot about coronaviruses because coronaviruses have been around a long time.
Yeah,
But we do not know a lot about COVID-19.
correct.
And we have conflicting information about how coronaviruses themselves are contained or spread. And now all of a sudden we're experts on COVID-19. And I get taking precautions. I get it. And if people wear masks in public, and those masks are clean, you probably are filtering out some level of contaminations that you may experience in a public place.
Yeah.
It's probably better than nothing. But most people's masks are dirty, and most people are not covering their faces with their masks. I mean, it's getting to the point where it's like 50-50 where I see people with the mask pulled down over their nose.
And then how much moisture is being built up in that mask as you're breathing and your saliva as you're talking and shit like that. Like, isn't that how bacteria grows? Is in fucking moisture?
Mm-hmm. Indoors, in moisture, in recirculated air. At home, when you're at home, if people are going out, dude, this is the thing that bugs me the most. We got to shut down all these little tiny stores, but we got to keep Walmart open.
Correct.
I mean, you're lucky if you don't catch a disease at Walmart on a normal day. You know, and now we're going to send people only to Walmart and then send them home and shut down playgrounds. And I mean, we know that these things don't make any logical sense, but the influence from the media is so strong that people are willing to yell at strangers about this stuff.
And that's the thing. They talk about the science. Like, name one scientist that you've heard say it. Don't mention fucking Don Lemon.
Mm-hmm.
Don't mention Anderson Cooper or Chris Kyle or what's his name, Kyle Clark. Don't mention a fucking reporter or news anchor. Mention the actual scientist that you heard the science come from.
Well, Dr. Fauci has said we need masks.
And he's also said we don't need masks.
And he was on TV. He was on some committee where he was testifying, and then when the cameras turned off, he took his mask off. There's a video of him. Camera, like, it's like, okay, we're done. And he just takes the mask off. And he's just standing there.
Yeah.
After testifying through this, I'm Dr. Fauci, and this is a sworn testimony. Like, when you're sitting at that table, nobody's sitting near you. You don't need the mask.
Did you see the video of AOC? Sexy motherfucker.
See? I feel like I'm in the minority by saying that.
So fucking delicious, man.
People make fun of me for saying that.
No way. I don't give a fuck about her politics. But anyway, she was taking her mask off to blow bubbles, and everybody's just like, "You're fucking blowing that COVID everywhere, motherfucker!"
In a bubble that can carry it a lot further than it would go just by breathing.
Like, it's just talking about not making sense. Like, these people are fucking retarded. I mean, she's sexier than a motherfucker, but she retarded, man.
So I have gone out publicly and not worn the mask.
Nice.
I went to Home Depot.
Nice.
And I'm really torn about this whole thing because on one hand, I don't think it does anything. On top of that, I think it can actually be bad for you if you wear it long enough. Yeah. On the other hand, if a business wants to enforce that rule and I want to shop there, then I should follow their rule. On the other hand, it's up to them to enforce their rule. And if they don't want to enforce it, then I'm not going to follow it.
Yeah.
So I went to Home Depot and I didn't wear a mask. And I was the only one in there not wearing a mask.
Oh, I bet.
And I'm just doing my shopping, you know. I'm just waiting for somebody to tell me to put a mask on. But nobody does. And so then I need help. So I asked the guy in the paint department a couple of questions, and this guy was acting like I was on fire. He would not come near me. And he also was acting like if he got caught talking to me, he was going to get fired. So I'm asking him about this paint, and he's like, "Oh, that paint?" And he just keeps walking up and down the aisle, like trying to stay away from me. And then he goes, "Oh, that paint, that paint got discontinued." And we don't have it anymore. I'm like, okay, well, do you have anything like it? Because I need something like it. Oh, well, what you need? This one will do. Yeah, here you go. Here you go. I'm like, all right, well, this doesn't have a primer in it? Oh yeah, primer's down there. Wait, over there. Yeah.
Way the fuck over there.
And you could see his brain melting down because he's supposed to help me.
Yeah.
And like that's his whole job, is to be helpful to the customer. At the same time, he is either afraid of getting sick or he's afraid of being seen talking to me or something, but his brain was like short circuiting. It was so funny. And and he was probably about mid-20s or whatever. And yeah. So Joel says he was told something at Big Five. Did somebody call him out? Joel, did somebody call you out for not wearing a mask at Big Five? And
so we got called out a lot in Florida, and obviously on the plane. But in Florida, it was pretty funny because like there was times I would just forget it, and they're like, "Oh, you got to wear a mask." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." Like, thank you. We went to a strip club up in Florida, as one does.
As one does.
And
as everyone in Florida does, I'm sure.
And there too, like, "Oh, you got to wear a mask." I'm like, so we went with another chick. So she's wearing a bandana. And I'm like, okay, I have the same fucking bandana, the exact same one. She's wearing it. And the dudes are like, "Hey, you got to wear your mask." I was like, "Okay, I'll throw this on. Fuck it." And the dudes are like, "No, you can't wear that one." I was like, "What the fuck you mean I can't wear this one?" And he's like, No, I got one for you. It's going to be a lot better than this one right here. I was like, "But I got it, and I'll just wear this fucking bandana." I mean, I wasn't going to. I was just going to put it fucking DMX style or some shit or Ice Cube style. And then he's like, no, it's just that one's not good enough. And then I look at her, and then she's wearing the exact same fucking bandana, covering her fucking mouth. I'm like, you guys are just fucking retarded. Like you guys are the scientist. Like you guys are these fucking. So he gives me the fucking mask, and I just like do the whole one ear thing, and then never again was told anything about a fucking mask. Like you guys are just fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Fucking idiots.
Although if you tried to wear a bikini in there, I bet they'd kick you out too.
I would hope so. If I rolled up in there in the fucking thong, I would hope so.
Like, sir, you got to wear clothes in here. I'm wearing the same clothes she's wearing. No, sir, you can't wear that. You need here. I have some clothes for you. You can wear. It's like a size 4XL Raiders jersey. Here, wear this. So some double standards are okay. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, but not the fucking whatever.
Maybe you don't make the mask look good. Maybe that's the problem. Like if you're gonna wear a bandana, you got to make it work.
Oh, I could make that bitch work.
Yeah. This Miguel, I believe that's called a slingshot. Joel says, have you guys heard anything about mass package boxes saying that it doesn't protect?
That's right. They fucking in Orlando, they have to have their nipples covered. Like it's hard to fucking pinch strippers' nipples when they're fucking covered up in pasties.
In all the clubs?
Well, we only went to one, but
okay. So he says, Joel says these boxes on these masks specifically says it does not protect from COVID-19. That's liability. It's like the same thing as when people like put. I'm trying to think of an example. Like clearly something is meant for one thing, but they have to say it's not meant for that because if they get sued, they have to. Yeah. Like I'm not really that stressed about the masks in general, except the fact that it's being used as a mind control device. You know?
Oh, and is it working?
It is working. Did you see that video of that woman in Lakeside, in Wheat Ridge, who went on a tirade against the
Molly's?
Molly's liquor store?
Yeah.
The weird thing was, until she made a scene, I think she was actually right that she didn't have to wear a mask. Because the exceptions are if you have a medical condition, and nobody can prove that you don't have a medical condition.
Correct.
And the store is not allowed to kick you out, I think, for for a medical condition. If you have, under the Americans with Disabilities Act,
Yep.
if you have a medical condition that prevents you from following some store policy, they can't kick you out for that.
Correct.
So even though she was absolutely insane, I think she was initially right.
Initially.
And
here's what I don't get. There's a lot of people that would call her the Karen in that particular context. Like, no, it's if we really look at it, it's the complainer.
Yeah.
Well, she later became one.
She became one. Everyone has the potential to become a Karen, by the way.
Correct.
Like, you need to watch yourself.
But if you're the one that's complaining about somebody not wearing the mask, it is really you that's the Karen at that point. Not minding your own business.
Yeah. Do you realize you're going to kill everyone if you don't wear a mask? I want to talk to the manager. And get you to wear a mask.
Everyone. So
I've seen people pulling guns on people for complaining about wearing masks.
Yeah, the people got shot here in fucking in Aurora.
Oh, at the Waffle House?
The Waffle House.
The one I saw was like a guy sitting in a patio seating area, and somebody got into an argument with him about his mask because I think it was a Trump mask, and the guy sitting on the patio ended up pulling a gun on the guy.
So here's the big problem with all of this stuff. So a lot of people think that it's just, we shouldn't be arguing about this stuff. First of all, wear a mask, don't wear a mask, do whatever the fuck you want. We shouldn't be arguing about this stuff. Pink has talked about this, but when you are a mask wearer and you want to force everybody to wear a mask, this is ultimately what you're doing. Old man doesn't wear. If I'm old, if I'm 73 years of age, if I don't want to wear a motherfucking mask, guess what? I'm not wearing a motherfucking mask. I think you've lived long enough to be like, nah, I'm good. If I want to die from COVID, then let me fucking die from COVID. So police shoot and kill a 73-year-old man for refusing to wear a mask.
Where was this?
I
can't read the fine print.
Ontario Provincial, so Canada.
Oh, I'm gonna move to Canada. It's way better.
Oh yes, you want me to find situations here in the U.S.?
I'm just saying, people were saying that they wanted to move to Canada after Trump got elected because it was less oppressive.
Fucking move anywhere, but get shot outside in Toronto. So at a Value Mart grocery store in Minden, Ontario, about 2 hours outside of Toronto, the man allegedly refused to wear a face mask, which is mandatory indoors in areas limited to spread COVID-19. The store chose not to serve him. The alleged assault followed.
So the headline implies that he was shot for not wearing a mask. But what actually happened?
I'm sure the same shit that happened at Molly's Liquors. I'm still reading here.
Okay, so 73-year-old man shot for not wearing. I'm just adding it to the notes here for not
so
wearing.
They said it found a gun, but they can't say it belonged to him. The SUI did not confirm to Weiss News whether the suspect had a weapon at the time, nor did he provide details about the man's identity, including race and name. So it really doesn't give a shit ton of details about this shit.
Yeah, because they want to make it sound like it was all about the mask.
The mask. Yeah.
So
I wouldn't doubt if the man was like, fucking suck my dick, you fucking cunt ass motherfucking bitch.
Suck on this, and he reaches for his waistband.
And then they fucking shot him dead.
Sir, put that. Oh my God. Yeah. So Joel sent me a picture. It says, you want me to wear a mask to protect your health? You want me to take a jog to help you lose weight too? Burn. Yeah. So I really don't care if people want to wear masks, and if somebody wants to call me out for not wearing a mask, my reaction is going to be to ignore them.
Correct.
I'm not going to get in an argument with a stranger over a mask. Like, that's retarded.
Correct.
If you want to get mad at me for not wearing a mask, that's fine. I'm going to keep shopping. If somebody in the store tells me that they want me to leave because I'm not wearing a mask, then I will decide at that point if I'm going to put on a mask or if I'm going to leave. I am not going to argue with them about their business because I don't want anybody coming into my place and arguing with me about mine.
Bitch.
My policy is my policy. And if you don't like it, you can leave.
Bitch.
And so,
speaking of policy, I stood for one of the Gucci brothers class, the beginning of it. Holy shit, man. Verga.
By the way, your Chiron, your lower third, what does that mean? Can you repeat it again? Because I can't see it right now.
La verga. That's like you fucking kiss my ass. Like I fucking wipe my ass with all you motherfuckers.
What is the literal translation?
The literal translation is not that cool.
I don't like you.
No, it's basically you peel my cock. You peel my dick. Me pelan la verga.
Like a banana?
Like a fucking banana.
That's pretty good, actually. That's that. We don't have anything like that in English.
No, not really. Like, but that's the literal translation. But anyways, you were talking about policies, and Isaac Martinez, he starts off by saying, "I'm really passionate about this. If you're going to be on your phone, I'd say leave now."
Ooh, I like it.
He said that shit. I was like, damn, dude. He's like, yeah, I'm really passionate about this. If you're going to be on your phone, just leave now.
Hey, I give him credit. I give him some points for putting something on it.
Like, yeah. No, it just, that's his class.
But still that's dumb. But I give him credit.
Yeah, like
it's like the opposite of Sheriff Reams. Like, I'm glad you see things my way, but you're a pussy.
So it's just funny.
I have no respect for you now.
No respect
for doing what I asked you to do.
It's just hilarious.
Yeah. So somebody said earlier something that I thought was funny. I think it was Richard. He said asking people to wear a mask 4 months into a pandemic is like asking people to wear condoms at a baby shower.
Correct.
Like, at this point, you think it's going to make a difference?
So
this far into it, it's like the lockdown thing. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just reading this fool. I'm not going to pronounce it, but people arguing with the CDC about what to do in a pandemic is like paying for insurance all along and then paying for your medical bills out of pocket. Anyways, the problem with the CDC is you can't argue with them because they're always constantly flip-flopping.
Chinese, man.
It's Chinese.
It's the Chinese.
So, and if you look at, and I'm going both ways with this shit, because if you look at the CDC's numbers are basically, this is like I seen a great meme, fantastic meme, and it was basically the Dumb and Dumber skit or bit where they're like, he says, so you're saying there is a chance. Where you tell somebody like your survival rate is 99.99 whatever percent to survive. Like, so you say there is a chance. Even if you look at the CDC's numbers, like the chance of you dying from this shit is so fucking minuscule. And this new mask mandate was brought out because our positives went up, but if you look at our death rate, it's actually going down. Like that shit's still trending down in Colorado anyways.
Our positives are going up for a few reasons.
Yeah, of course.
One, as Trump said, we're testing more. So
Correct.
We're going to get more positive cases.
Correct.
And he said maybe we should stop testing. And everyone's like, oh, that's the dumbest idea. Trump is a rah, rah, rah. Yeah. They went on and on. During the H1N1 pandemic, as the CDC identified it, the Obama administration stopped testing.
Correct.
As the numbers were climbing.
Correct.
I don't know if he was being serious or if he was just making a point, but the point stands.
He's not good at sarcasm.
He's not good at sarcasm.
Yeah, at all.
He's not good at speaking, period. I mean, he's not as bad as Biden, but Biden probably used to be better before Biden's brain malfunctioned on him.
He is the opposite of Ronald Reagan when it comes to speaking. What do they call Ronald Reagan? The great communicator. This guy is not even fucking close to
Ronald Reagan was an actor.
Correct.
Like
Correct.
that's his whole life was learning how to say somebody else's lines. That's all he ever did.
Well, Trump is not that at all. But the point is that the CDC goes back and forth, and then you do have a lot of good. And we see this in the gun community as well, where the CDC has the numbers now. We hate it that the CDC puts out the numbers for suicides and gun accidents, all with gun crime. They should be completely separate. Like it skews it, but they always ignore those numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's just look at the homicides. No, we should still look at the accidents and the suicide rate. Like we should look at it separately, but we should still look at that shit.
If we're going to argue that guns should be in our society, then we need to take responsibility for when they're used improperly.
So, and I guess that's my only thing with, did that person take their shit down?
No, I don't think so. It's just moved up.
It moved up. That's my only thing about that is just like, yeah, a lot of people argue with the CDC, but like I get it. The CDC often gets shit wrong, or again, from a gun owner's perspective, it's bullshit that they clump up suicides and accidents, gun accidents with homicide. Like those are two completely different categories, or three different completely categories that should be addressed separately.
So, his point earlier, Haxu's point, is I wear my mask because the CDC recommends it. I really don't care if people want to wear a mask. Like it's, like I said, I flip flop on it because if I sneeze, I always pull my shirt up and cover my sneeze with my shirt.
Yeah.
Because on some level, I believe I'm doing some good by doing that.
Correct.
I'm stopping some of that flow out of my nose and mouth into the public.
I personally, a little bit, get cringy when I see old fuckers show up and not wear a mask.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so when I see people at the class and they're like, motherfucker, and I've told someone, like, you're old, like you're not wearing a mask.
Where's your mask? Yeah, like you're halfway to a ventilator already. You shouldn't even be here.
So it's that weird hypocrisy, that weird dynamic.
Yeah.
Just like, I don't give a fuck what you do, but like it's my personal responsibility.
Right. So if people want to wear masks and they do wear masks, like I have zero judgment for them for doing it.
Correct.
It's people. Well, yeah, okay. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
There's like a 5% judgment going on, but that's just me being a human being.
Correct.
Because they're doing something different than what I'm doing, so I have to judge them for it. But yeah, it says Edgar with a cigar. Oh, except when they walk in with a cigar. Yeah. I'm just making a choice, and I'm making a choice based on incomplete information, and I fully acknowledge that my choice could be wrong.
Correct.
But I understand that choosing the other way could be wrong too.
Correct.
And I'm going to go with the choice that is least restrictive to me. That's just my default position. Correct. Whatever the least restrictive choice is, that's where I'm going to go. That's where I'm going to tend to go. It's like following running a red light when there's nobody around.
Correct.
I'm going to look both directions, and I'm like, okay, I'm about to do something that is borderline dangerous here. But I'm taking into account all the factors, and I'm making a decision. I'm not going to sit here for another minute and wait for this light to change.
Exactly.
So it's a really weird line to walk because everybody wants you to kind of put your foot down and say masks work, we all should wear them, or masks are socialism and we should refuse them. You know, it's like maybe it's just a gray area, and maybe we should just leave each other alone and let people do what they want to do. And
that's the ultimate thing. And so I'm actually opposite to again, I don't know how to pronounce that, but so the CDC changing the recommendation makes it more credible. I actually believe the opposite It's just because if I'm going to make a factual statement, I better have all of my information proper. Like
Yeah.
the CDC, if they want to be credible to me, they should be like, hey, there's this new virus. We don't know what the fuck's going on. This is probably a good idea that you should do this. But until we figure it out, you do whatever the fuck you want. I would believe them more if they said that versus, hey, there's a new virus as of right now, do this. And then 2 months later, like, we figured some more shit out. Never mind. Don't do that. Do this. Like, for me, it's just like, now you're making statements without having all of the information. And that's not what scientists should be doing. If you're a real scientist, you're making decisions based off of facts. And until it's a fact, it's just a hypothesis.
Yeah. And you should say it's a hypothesis. Like, surgeons wear masks while they're operating to prevent large particles of bacteria from passing from their nose and mouth into the area. It's not 100%. It still happens. And COVID is a smaller molecule or cell or whatever you want to call it than what the mask can capture. I think the mask can capture like 0.1 microns or something, and COVID's like 0.05 microns or something like that.
Correct.
So a COVID virus can pass through the mask, no problem. But the virus does tend to clump up into large, like, what do you call them? Globules. And the mask can stop that. But the mask can also build up enough pollutants in it that no matter what you do, you're breathing pollutants out. So, like, this is the information we should be getting. The information should be, here's what we know about masks. This is what we've learned over the decades we've been studying this, because it has been studied for decades. And there's no conclusive evidence that masks stop the spread of respiratory diseases. But people still wear them in the hospital. Nurses still wear them when they're dealing with flu patients. Doctors still wear them when they're operating. Like, we can just be honest about what we know about it and say we recommend you wear a mask, but not claim that masks are going to stop the spread of the disease.
Correct.
We don't know if it is or if it is or isn't. And these higher numbers we're seeing are not because of masks. They're because we're changing the criteria of how we count cases. In Florida, they're having testing centers report in 100% infection rates.
Correct.
For testing.
So I think one lab was like 3,000, if I'm not mistaken. Let's look that shit up so I'm not a liar. But I think they found 3,000 were over-reported. So Florida lab.
So while you're looking up that, I was listening to a podcast that was playing a clip from some city in Texas. It was not a big city, but they were talking about how they count cases, and they count cases as somebody gets a confirmed positive test, and then everybody who's had level 1 interaction with that person, contact tracing, they assume all those people are cases. So they're calling all those cases even without testing those people.
Yeah.
So they're changing the criteria of what they call a case. They're not even saying anymore that these are.
Well, Colorado had to do that shit because they found that they were reporting even deaths, they were reporting incorrectly.
Yeah, deaths and they're calling these cases now. They're not calling them positive tests.
So the State Department of Health started producing daily coronavirus summaries March 16th. That first report including results from 42 labs, 29 of which either reported 100% positives or 100% negative test. So either way, it's a lie. But it doesn't say the
100% positive or 100% negative. I wouldn't conclude that the 100% negative is a lie. I mean, I think that's way more likely.
The health labs have produced a total of 29,557 tests. Of those, 5,351 have been positive. Holy shit, the number's a lot bigger than I thought. And 24,206 have been negative, for a positivity rate of 18.1. So that was the lab that was claiming it was 100%. 24. So basically 24,000 people they were claiming was positive when in fact it was only 5,351.
And then you look at the overall numbers for Florida, and that is no small drop in the bucket. 24,000 is a large portion of the new cases that they're claiming qualify as a surge.
Correct.
So I know 2 people, put it up in front of the camera, 2 people who recently were tested positive for COVID. And then they retested and it came back negative. And I bet you anything that those 2 tests are counted as positive and the retest is not counted.
Absolutely.
Personally know 2 people.
So how true is it? Maybe we can look this up, but states are, because of state of emergencies, states are getting a certain amount of cash for the amount of positive tests that they have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
and they're going to get money from the next stimulus package too.
So it's in their benefit. It's in their interest to stay in a state of emergency and pump up the fucking numbers.
So Joel says something, and I want to verify this. Joel says, direct fact, wife's friends went to get tested, and they got their name on the list. They changed their mind and left. Later got a call that they came up positive. They never got tested. Now, I have heard that from a lot of people, and I tend to believe that it is a Facebook myth. Now, so Joel, what I would like you to do is restate that in a way that confirms that you know that actually happened, because I'm hearing this happen, and maybe it did happen, it didn't, but this exact scenario is replicating across a lot of different platforms, and I'm wondering if this is just like, I have a friend of a friend and this happened to them, because there are a lot of that kind of stuff happens.
Correct.
UK called for an urgent investigation into the numbers because anyone who died after testing positive was counted. I do know somebody who was counted. Yeah, I do know somebody who was counted as a COVID death and they died in a car accident. So
personally,
again, it was a friend of a friend, but it was not like this person did actually die in a car accident.
Yeah.
Like, this is not a joke. I spoke to 2 separate people who knew this person, and they both said that it was recorded as a COVID death in the Springs.
Yeah, no, Colorado got busted for doing that shit, and they had to redo their numbers.
It's a $34,000 check for the hospital.
Correct.
Yeah. So
state of emergency.
Right.
Yeah.
So as soon as my wife gets back, I'll get more details and share it. Please do. Yes. I want to switch gears to what Miguel said. So the Wayfair cabinet's a bunch of right-wing conspiracy BS by QAnon, a.k.a. Alex Jones. For those of you who don't know this conspiracy theory, apparently if you go on Wayfair and order some special cabinet that has a female, like has a little girl's name, and it costs $10,000, you're going to get that child as a special bonus with your cabinet. What, have you heard this? Apparently you've heard this. You're laughing about it.
Yeah, it's all bullshit.
It's not. It's
100.
I'll tell you what it is, though. It's money laundering. Because you can go on Wayfair and you can find these products.
But I don't think
you can go on Amazon and find them too.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't dispute that. But I don't think it's this big conspiracy to. This is one of my favorite fucking memes out there.
When you open up the dresser you just bought from Wayfair. That's horrible, dude. Horrible. Was the cabinet made in China? If it came from Wayfair, I'm sure it was made in China. So I noticed this actually several years ago. You go on Amazon and you look up a product and you're scrolling through, like you're looking for a desk organizer or something. And you're scrolling through and it's like $30, $9,000.
That's crazy.
And then you're like, what the? Yeah, like what the hell is that? Well, it's money laundering. I guess this happens. This is not me. This is not my information. I've heard this from people who supposedly know this. Apparently, this happens in the art world a lot. You buy a piece of art for like $1.2 million, and all you're doing is injecting drug money into a legit income stream. So,
every time I try to use Wayfair, those motherfuckers wanted me to download the app, and that's when I stop.
Oh, you got to get on a desktop, dude. Yeah. If you like if you're running a money laundering operation, you can have a product on Amazon storefront, and like apparently it's a very easy way to inject illicit money into a revenue stream. So I highly, highly, highly doubt it's being used to deliver children. Although it is possible, I highly doubt it.
Highly doubt it, dude. That would be so. Because how do you guarantee that? Because there's a lot of stupid people out there that buy shit just because it's expensive.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
So-
didn't Apple had that app that came out in the App Store that was like $1,000 app, and all it was just an app. It didn't do anything. It was just like if you had that app, everybody knew that you just spent $1,000 on an app.
And I'm sure they made a few $100,000 off of that bitch.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, of course. So I'm sure I'd like to believe that everybody who can spend $40,000 on a cabinet isn't a fucking pedophile. Because if everybody who spends $40,000 on a cabinet is a pedophile, we're in fucking deep shit.
Well, I have a family member who's thinking about spending $4,000 on a bicycle, so I hope that doesn't mean things.
So I'm almost positive that if you have a shit ton of rich people who just bought a $40,000 fucking cabinet and they find a kid, they'd be like, what the fuck is this?
It's such a stupid way to like deliver that, because what if just the wrong person buys it and they're just like, oh, hey, where do you want your child delivered? Like,
Also,
my what?
Also, the FedEx people delivering the shit.
Oh, I'm sure it doesn't come on FedEx. I'm sure it gets dropped off in an Uber or something.
Pito Express, like what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. So Mike says, I heard they're all names of missing girls. Like, you know how many missing girls there are around the world or even in this country?
Oh, yeah.
It wouldn't be hard to match a name to a missing person report.
Sure my name is attached to a fucking missing child somewhere.
Yeah. Well, it should have been.
Should have been.
At one point, right? He's 13. We haven't seen him in a while.
Nope. Nothing.
I'm sure the seller only sells to specific people. I mean, the only way to know is if you actually try to buy it, but then maybe you accidentally buy a $10,000 cabinet and all you get is a cabinet.
Code to order it.
Yeah.
Nah.
I don't know. I think that there's way easier ways to do that than to publicly post a product that could get you a kid delivered to your house. Like, come on. It's just money laundering. That's all it is. And when you have a company like Wayfair that's run by the Chinese who launder drug money all the time, doesn't seem that hard.
And gun money.
Yeah. Comes with escapee. Comes with a Uyghur. Hey, this is the operation to free the Uyghurs. Everybody go out and buy a cabinet.
Go buy a cabinet.
I bought this cabinet on Wayfair, and all I got was this shitty cabinet. Yeah, so I highly doubt that that we're seeing a human trafficking. Although I do certainly believe that it's tied to illegal activity. But
Go.
I was gonna say Tony said they said you need a special code to even order it. Who is they?
Yeah.
Who
you know?
Yeah. Where did you get your inside information? I have questions.
Somebody had a question on Instagram. If we as a society do seek to move forward with the less police presence or whatever form of defunding the police may take place, what are ways in which a regular citizen, caring or not, is able to safely manage situations in public place without the need for police intervention? Just something to think about that seems relevant today.
So where was that comment?
Instagram.
Oh, are you live on Instagram too?
No, I'm not live there.
Oh.
That was a question that was
I mean, you're asking the wrong person that question, I think. Because Edgar thinks that the police should have been defunded a long time ago.
Oh, yeah.
So
the entire government.
Or maybe you're asking the right person. I shouldn't say you're asking the wrong person, but you're not asking a mainstream gun-loving person.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that we have to acknowledge is that we're already there. Funded or not funded, cops are going to take forever to get there. It's so ironic to hear the same argument from both sides. Like I I record a thing for a candidate for a governor, and he's a Republican, and he was saying today, oh, it sucks. Yesterday we had our law enforcement appreciation day, and people were fighting, and nobody was there to protect us. I was like, you're basically saying the cops are fucking worthless, but yet you want to fucking fund the cops, and you're there appreciating the cops and shit like that. But in the same breath, you're saying they're fucking worthless because they didn't save you. You're trying to blame Polis for it, but the cops were fucking there. The cops could have done something. Like if you look at the pictures, people have their fucking heads cracked open, and like people were legit fighting yesterday, apparently.
Yeah, I saw a video. Yeah,
and the cops were just hanging out. And then on the other side, they're saying the same shit. On Sunday, I had a lady, and it was a good conversation. I always appreciate these conversations, but this lady was talking about because her husband was a Boulder sheriff deputy. So we started talking about not talking to the cops and shit like that, and whether you need to or not need to. And you know, we did our thing, and I said my thing, and somebody asked me for my opinion. So obviously my opinion is don't talk to cops. Like that's always a bad idea to talk to cops. And then she felt like she needed to say something, and she says those cops are out there. They never know when that bad guy is or her ironic statement was most of these cops are good. Yeah, one or two are bad, but most of them are bad. So my thought was, yeah, that's how we feel when we get treated like criminals. Cops assume everybody's a criminal instead of just one or two.
Pull up your damn pants.
Yeah.
All people who sag their pants are criminals.
So it's shit like that. So it was very ironic. And then her things are like, these cops, when they pull you over, they never know when they're gonna die. I was like, yeah, and if you're brown, you never know which cop is gonna kill you. So like we're in the same boat. Like we're ironically arguing the same thing. We're just coming at this very differently. So
you know, more cops are killed in traffic accidents than are killed by being shot. And I'm not downplaying the cops are killed doing their job, but they don't block the road every time they're gonna pull somebody over. They shut down the highway. Electricians
die more than cops in their profession, firefighters and shit like that. So the idea of what's going to happen is it already happens. If you dial 911 right now, how long do you think the cops are going to take to fucking get to your house? Like it should be your responsibility.
Should we try it?
Oh, dude, you don't know how many times I've tripped the alarm on purpose just to see how long it would take the cops to show up.
Do you have an average response time?
About 30 minutes.
Ah, man.
You know how much shit can happen in 30 minutes. So when people talk about like, oh, we need the cops and we need them, like I partly agree. Like we need somebody to take a cool ass report, and we need somebody to like be there to cover your ass or whatever. But like at the end of the day, like they're never really there to stop anything. You had somebody get shot in front of your house. The cops didn't stop it. I mean, they showed up afterwards. So when people are like, oh, it's going to keep the peace. Like, no, not really. I mean, it with some people it does. But overall, the fuckers fought yesterday in front of the cops. And the cops were like, you know, whatever.
They fought in front of the seat of government. They fought in Civic Center Park, right in front.
And like head split the fuck open, like bleeding.
It's like the I mean, have you been down there recently? Have you been downtown?
No, I haven't seen it, but I've seen plenty of pictures.
Oh my gosh, dude. It's a drug-fueled mess.
So what it looks like is when you watch Back to the Future 2 or
Back to the Future 2 when they return and Biff has taken over Hill Valley.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Legit. No joke. Except I saw it in the daytime. I didn't see it at night. But other than that, everything. I mean, there were people shooting up heroin on the sidewalk where I was walking.
Correct.
There's trash everywhere. They have destroyed that part of the Capitol Hill. And no, I mean, these are not protesters. These are people who are just living on the steps of the Capitol building.
Correct.
And doing drugs.
Correct.
And like, I'm baffled by this.
So for me, personally, it's just like, that's a perfect example on why you shift those funds to something that is a little bit more productive. I don't truly believe that a society can function without some sort of rules and stuff like that, because again, that's not what anarchy is. But I also don't believe that the cops do a good job. They don't enforce laws appropriately. They don't, in my opinion, they don't. And we're living it. Like, we're fucking living it. Like we are about to sue a fucking whole sheriff's office, if not more, because they're not doing their fucking job properly. So I think the idea of self-defense is something that you should worry about with or without the idea of defunding the cops. Even before we defund the police or defund the government, it's something that you should think about. What should people do? I don't know, because my self-defense when I'm alone is very different than when my 7-year-old is with me. And there's people that don't have kids. There's people that do. There's people that are fat as fuck and need to worry about their health because they're fat as fuck. There's people who are smokers and they have to think about that shit. So there's really too many. In my opinion, there's way too many variables to say this is what everybody should do. Very basic is just train, and then train, and then train again, and then train again.
Yeah, I mean, and that's specific to just dealing with guns or violence in general. But people, we get these questions all the time in the class. What should I do? What should I do? What should I do? And I always just tell people, the more you understand your capabilities, your tools, and yourself, the more you're going to be able to respond to that situation appropriately. Some people who have, there's a video of a guy on YouTube. I'm sure you've seen this video. It's pretty famous, where guy comes in to rob the store, and the clerk pulls out a gun, grabs the guy by the shirt, pulls him in nice and close, and sticks the gun in his mouth.
Yeah.
That is a person well acquainted with violence. That is a person who has been in that situation before.
Correct.
And his training consists of probably a lot of real life scenarios where he faced death.
Correct.
So you're not going to get that by just talking about it on Facebook. Like, your best bet is to train so that you can be level-headed enough. I'm not saying he did the right thing, but he was cool as a cucumber about that. Correct. And not everybody can put a gun in somebody's mouth without pulling the trigger.
Correct.
That guy, his training consisted of a lot of real life experiences, and short of real life experiences, your best bet is to get acquainted with violence in appropriate ways.
Or your brother-in-law, what he had to do, which was a little bit different.
Yeah, my brother-in-law beat the shit out of somebody who was trying to borderline rob his liquor store.
Correct.
Beat that guy unconscious. Got his nose broken in the process. He wasn't concerned about his nose.
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know, I have a brother-in-law who owns a liquor store, and some drunk guy came in and wanted to buy something. They refused to serve him because he was drunk. The guy got belligerent and tried to steal a bottle of whiskey, and my brother-in-law physically stopped him from stealing the bottle of whiskey. The guy punched my brother-in-law in the face, broke his nose. And my brother-in-law is not small. He's like 6'1", and this guy was bigger than him. This bad guy broke his nose. My brother-in-law had already grabbed his gun from under the counter, and as soon as he got punched, decided to use his gun as a hammer and beat this guy unconscious.
Can you imagine that level of anger where it's just like, you're not even worth my bullets, dude. Like, I'm fucking pistol whip. Because there's a bigger level of disrespect to just pistol whip the shit.
Yeah. And I'm not describing something that was told to me. I watched the video, and I was horrified at the beating he put down on this guy.
Yeah.
And he only hit him like 4 or 5 times, but you could tell from the video he hit him so hard the guy forgot his name. You know, they actually found he got knocked out in the parking lot, and before the cops showed up, he got up and wandered off, and the cops found him a block away, unconscious again. So,
It's crazy.
by the way, the cops took a while to show up, and the guy ended up walking, jumped bail or something like that, or something. But guy never saw prison time.
Yeah,
So-
and that's kind of where I'm at with that stuff. And you'll hear story after story about that stuff where it's just like I just had to take care of it myself. So I don't have a perfect answer. I don't think anybody does, and anybody who thinks they do is probably full of shit. But it's we have to be realistic about this whole defunding the cops and stuff like that. Like it just, I do believe that if we are going to do that, we have to, because there's a lot of shit that the cops pretend to do and we expect the cops to do but don't really do, like community organizing and programs and some mental health crisis situations and stuff like that. They're not effective at it, but there needs to be something that is replaced. I know Colorado's already got a pilot program going on, where mental health experts show up to certain calls instead of police and shit like that. So we've got to be realistic about that shit.
Yeah, we have to be realistic. Everybody needs to be realistic.
Yeah.
I mean, the people who hate the police need to be realistic. Like, are you prepared to deal with somebody who's hopped up on drugs, who's running around hitting people with a hammer? You know, maybe you are, but maybe not everybody is, and you can't be everywhere. You know, I mean, you see a lot of the hypocrisy coming from these protesters who will pick a fight with the police, and then somebody gets hurt, and all of a sudden they want the help. You know, they want help from the cops.
Right. Yeah.
This shooting that happened at Chaz was unbelievable. I watched a video that showed that had the audio.
Which one?
The one that killed the 2 kids. One was 14, one was 19.
So Miguel and I were talking about that stuff. So if I'm not mistaken, these kids were just joyriding, correct?
I don't know, but they were young black men, and I think they may have been in a stolen car, but I'm not positive about
Correct.
that.
Right? Last I heard is they were just like doing.
By the way, I don't mean young black men are the only ones who drive around in stolen cars joyriding. What I mean is they were in supposedly a safe zone for black people.
The reason the zone was created.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So, and then from what I remember, if I remember correctly, they were doing it relatively close to their Chaz headquarters. And one of the security guards decided, they were a threat.
Probably a white guy, based on how many
was
pictures I saw of white guys with guns.
I believe it was. And it was shooting. And then people were like, no, motherfucker, they're just kids. And he kept fucking unloading on the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they wouldn't let the ambulance to go in.
Mm-hmm. And in fact, those 2 kids those 2 people didn't even get picked up by the ambulance. They got out of the car and left the scene before they died. One of them made it to the hospital alive, but I think he died too, right?
Yeah, one of them died. Because one of them died because the dad went on TV and the Republicans exploited his video.
Oh, okay. Yeah. As they do, dancing in blood, as they would call it, using a dead person to prove a point. Yeah. So
Trump called the dad to give his condolences. So he mentioned that. So the Republicans were all like, see, our president cares about black people. He called this guy.
Yeah. Who else did President Trump call? I wonder. Did he call Breonna Taylor's parents?
I'm positive he did it. I'm positive he didn't call George Floyd's.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, I would be flattered if a president called me. to give me condolences.
Condolences.
But
Can you imagine if a political party exploited that video where
you
you're
know
like,
what? Maybe I wouldn't be.
No?
Like, I mean, in the limited interactions we've had with supposedly sympathetic politicians,
Yeah.
even with just our classes, my first instinct is to tell them, "Hey,
shut the fuck up.
piss off, man. I don't need you. I don't want you. You know, like we've had politicians approach us and ask us to help. You know, we'll promote you if you let us do this or that. No,
No, we
I would take a plug from Trump though for Guns for Everyone.
yeah,
I would take that.
We've had major players be like, "Hey, we want to go into your classes," and we've told them to fuck off.
Yeah.
In fact, a current Senate race.
I ghosted him actually.
Did you?
I ghost people I care about, man. You think I'm going to call these people?
Yeah, Gardner's campaign hit us up.
Oh, Cory Gardner's campaign. That's right. I forgot. I even forgot about it. I was thinking about the other one, the independent first.
No, the Cory Gardner hit us up, and they want to work together.
That guy can kiss my ass.
So we told him.
That guy's a scumbag.
Actually, I haven't told him anything. I just ignored him. When they asked about Trump, that's when we told him, nah, until he fixes his position on fucking bump stocks and passes the Hearing Act like he promised.
Repeals the NFA.
Repeals the NFA. We good on that motherfucker.
All right, so we're coming up on 2 hours here, or we're over 2 hours. So
over 2
hours. I want to finish this on a funny note. I don't know how I found this video. I mean, I know how I found it, but I don't know how to explain this video. So I'm just gonna play it. All right, here we go.
Demo, look, oral sex, demo. You see oral sex? Look, oral sex, look. You oral sex, use oral sex. Let that sperm of that man out, you demo, out. Let go.
Delivered me 2 Sundays back. Then a demon came with his penis and put it in my mouth.
So I want to go to that church.
You want to put this in your mouth?
That leads me to a story that I have to tell to wrap this up. This has nothing to do with anything we were talking about today. But when I was a kid, we used to go to what you might call charismatic churches. And, once in a while, somebody would stand up and have a word of prophecy for the congregation. And, you basically just let the person talk, because they would say something like, the Lion of Judah is now poised to come forth, and there will be a revival of Jesus. And, and everyone's like, oh, this is great, and the kids will come forth and out of the mouths of baby, blah, blah, blah. So you just let the person talk because, normally it's very uplifting. Well, I was about, I think I was about 10 or 11 years old, and we're sitting in church, and this guy stands up, and he has a word of prophecy. And I think, if I recall, they let him up on stage to recount his prophecy. And he took about a minute to just set up the scene. And I don't remember what it was, but it had something to do with a lake, So he's like, and behold, I saw a lake before me, blah, blah, And everyone's like, all right, cool, lake. That's good. We like lakes. And out of nowhere, he's like, and then I saw a penis coming out of the water. And it rose. And everyone's like, I'm sitting there. I'm like 10 years old. I'm like, what did I just hear? And it took about 30 seconds for the elders to rush up on stage and grab the guy and haul him out of the church.
Some of the craziest shit happens in churches, man. Like, I think I've seen more people get kicked out of a church for crazy shit or get tackled off of stages than any club that I've ever been to. Now, mind you, I don't go to a lot of clubs. That's never been my scene, but I've been enough that I probably should have seen at least one person get kicked out of fucking a club. And nope, churches is where I've seen it the most.
I haven't seen a lot of people get kicked out of churches, but
no?
I have seen. I remember that one, And I remember my pastor yelling at this guy in the well, my pastor yelled at me one time in the middle of the sermon. But this guy who was borderline, well, he was retarded, used to come to our church, and he had a watch on his wrist that used to every hour it would crow like a rooster. So right at 11 o'clock, right in the middle of the service, and like the third time it happened, my pastor looks at me and goes, "Tim, shut that thing off." And he was the funniest guy because he could go from yelling at you to just smiling at you, you know. So he yelled at Tim, and then he looked at everybody. He goes, "I've had it with that watch." Yeah. So watch out. And I'm gonna post this video that came from. It's called "Christian Pastor Heals Oral Sex Demon." And while he's yelling at this woman to get the demon out of her, she's making some choice faces. So, all right. Well, you can find the show notes for this episode at sayIwon't.live. I posted a link into the comments on both Facebook and on YouTube. And you can find all the links for the stuff that we talked about in there. You can also find a link to produce the show, translation, support us, give us money.
Give us money.
If you feel moved by the Spirit to do so. If you need to cast that unwashed ass demon out of you and get your ass washed, you can donate at sayiwon't.live/donate. We've been doing this podcast for 4 or 5 years?
4 or 5 years, some shit like that.
Yeah. And we feel like we're trying to promote some healthy thinking out there and get people to calm down and take themselves a little less seriously and promote some mental health out there. So if you feel like this is valuable to you, thank you for participating in the chat and providing us with links and cultural references. And I'm sorry. Yes, you're right. Haxie says need more activity on Discord. I forgot to open the Discord window. I have like 6 windows open right now. I forgot to open the Discord, but we are on Discord, and you can find that link at sayIwon't.live.
Isaac
as well.
is on Discord.
Yeah, I'm on Discord.
I am not.
You're the Luddite who doesn't like technology.
And
Dude,
everywhere I go, like we started off the show talking shit about social media and shit like that, and then to the idea of getting onto 20,000 other social medias just to find the same site fucking.
I get tired of it, man. It overwhelms me, you know. But
yeah, if we are gonna have Discord, we should be more active on that.
Yes.
Absolutely. One other thing that I forgot to mention, dude, and I'm gonna fuck up your fucking little shit here.
Do it.
Is I'm gonna let all my hair grow out until we're done with Larimer County.
I was gonna mention the beard, actually.
Yeah.
So when did you start this?
Probably about 3 weeks ago. So it hasn't been from the very beginning. But I had shaved my head, and then from there I was all like, I'm probably just gonna let it just grow. So a lot of people have forgotten that I'm not fully bald. It's definitely thinning. But I can still grow some pretty luscious hair.
Luscious?
Luscious.
That sounds like a challenge. Now I want Larimer County to delay.
Yeah, I'm gonna have a full head. The hairline has definitely gone to the way of Maj Touré and LeBron James, but it still comes out.
So just to wrap this all up in a nice little bow, Joel says I stand corrected. It was an article my wife read, a local article about people getting in line to test, not testing, and getting a positive result in the mail. So I like that's partly what I intend to do when I talk about this stuff is like, yeah, it sounds like they're miscounting stuff, but I want to know the truth. And if something's coming up and it's a myth or something like that, like I want to be able to clarify that and not just fall into the same traps that that everybody else falls into. Not calling you out, Joel. I'm saying in general.
Correct.
So thanks for getting back to us. Thanks for correcting the record so we can put correct information out there.
Hell yeah. I appreciate you guys. Do the donation thing.
Wash your ass.
Wash your ass.
Literally and figuratively.
Figuratively. Also tell people, because as Tad called us out on, we don't do a very good job at letting people know that this podcast exists. If you don't tell them, they won't know that it exists.
And we are on iTunes.
We are on iTunes. One of the things that I let like maybe 5 or 6 episodes bank, and then I upload all of them all at the same time. Maybe something we should change, but that's always kind of give an incentive for people to listen live, to do it that way. So,
yes. And don't forget, the Chinese are trying to take over the world.
I'm just glad it's not the Mexicans that are doing it now. Because a few years ago, it was the Mexicans that was fucking ruining everything.
Well, don't forget the Arabs.
So you guys are moving on to the Chinese. All right, guys. I appreciate you guys. We'll see you guys later.
Whoever the hell bought this mic system, don't be the son of a bitch to put it in. I'll tell you.
More.